Chapter 1. The Illusion of Sweat. If hard work was the magical key to absolute wealth, then the manual laborer working 14 hours a day under the scorching sun would be the richest individual in the world. The construction worker, the night shift security guard, and the exhausted corporate employee pulling 90-hour weeks would command the global economy. But they don't. In fact, statistically, they are the ones trapped closest to the financial baseline. For centuries, humanity has been systematically fed a dangerous economic lie, the myth that sweat equals currency. We were conditioned by our schools, our parents, and our institutions to believe that input directly determines output. We were told that if we just worked harder, stayed longer, and sacrificed more of our personal lives, the market would reward us with financial freedom. CEO said it was a brilliant lie, because the system does not design the hard work narrative to make you rich. It designs it to keep you as a highly predictable, deeply compliant gear inside someone else's wealth machine. To break out of this invisible architecture and claim your financial sovereignty in the modern era, you must watch this breakdown until the very final second. Because by the end of this video, we will expose the exact psychological and mathematical mechanism that the economic elite used to sever the connection between their time and their income. More importantly, we will reveal the 3 asymmetrical assets you can start building today that work for you while you sleep. If you leave this video early, you will continue to trade your life force for declining paper currency. But if you stay, you will learn how to rewrite the rules of your financial future. To understand why your current efforts are failing, we must first dissect the mathematical prison known as the linear time trap. Chapter 2. The linear time trap. The fundamental flaw of the traditional workforce is that it is built on linear mathematics. When you work a standard job, or even run a traditional service-based freelance business, you are participating in a direct one-to-one transaction. You trade 1 unit of your highly limited time for 1 unit of depreciating currency. CEO said this is the linear time trap, and its mathematical consequence is a brutal, unyielding phenomenon called the wealth ceiling. No matter how intelligent you are, no matter how prestigious your university degree is, you are bound by the same absolute physics as every other human being on Earth. You only have 24 hours in a day. If you must be physically or mentally present to generate an income, your wealth is permanently capped by your biological limitations. If you stop working because you are sick, exhausted, or wish to spend time with your family, the income generator instantly drops to zero. To make matters worse, we live in a global landscape driven by hyperinflation and asset devaluation. The central banks of the world are printing currency faster than you can physically earn it. If your income only grows linearly through an annual 3% corporate raise, while the cost of real assets, housing, and living scales exponentially, you are not actually maintaining your position. You are mathematically getting poorer every single year, despite working harder than ever before. The middle class believes the solution to this problem is to work more hours or get a second job. They attempt to solve a structural, mathematical flaw by increasing their physical exhaustion. But the economic elite do not play this game. They do not double down on their hours. They completely alter their relationship with output. To discover how the wealthy break through the biological limitations of time, we must look at the foundational law of modern economics, the law of modern leverage. Chapter 3. The architecture of leverage. What is leverage? In physical physics, a lever allows a human being to lift a massive boulder that would otherwise crush them. In economic physics, leverage allows a single individual to multiply their output by thousands of times without increasing their physical input. In the past, there were only 2 forms of economic leverage, labor and capital. If you wanted to build a massive fortune, you either needed an army of humans working under you, or millions of dollars in capital from a bank to fund your factories. Both of these forms of leverage are heavily restricted. They require permission. You must convince a venture capitalist to give you money, or you must manage the massive, exhausting friction of human employees. But we are currently living through the most profound democratization of power in human history. The digital landscape has birthed a completely new form of leverage, permissionless leverage. This is the domain of code and media. Code and media are the leverage of the economic elite. They require no permission from a gatekeeper, and they cost virtually nothing to deploy. When we create an automated digital system, a piece of software, or a high-value piece of media content on a global network, that asset does not sleep. It does not require healthcare benefits. It does not complain. It is a digital soldier that replicates your intellect and replicates your value, delivering it to millions of people simultaneously around the globe. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This video you are watching right now is an active example of permissionless leverage. While the creator of this channel is eating, sleeping, or working on another project, this specific piece of digital media is operating as an independent economic engine, delivering value to you across the globe. The input was linear. The output is entirely infinite. When you understand the architecture of permissionless leverage, you realize the profound tragedy of the average modern worker. They are still using their bare hands to fight an economic war where their competitors are deploying digital armies. To understand how this asymmetry translates into extreme wealth disparity, we must now analyze the phenomenon of nonlinear rewards. Chapter 4. Nonlinear rewards. In a traditional manual economy, rewards are strictly linear. If a factory worker works 10% harder or stays 10% longer, they might receive a 10% increase in their daily output. The relationship between input and output is balanced, predictable, and small. But in the modern digital economy, rewards are fundamentally non-linear. An operator utilizing modern leverage can be 100 times more productive than an ordinary worker, not because they possess 100 times more physical energy, but because their decisions are amplified by a global digital network. Consider a top-tier software engineer or a world-class digital content creator. They do not work 1,000 times harder than a junior technician. They sit at the same desk, look at the same type of screens, and use the same amount of biological energy. However, because their output is attached to permissionless leverage available to the entire world instantly, a single correct decision, a single viral video, or a single clean line of automation code can generate millions of dollars in equity, while the junior technician's linear output generates a standard hourly wage. The marketplace does not care about your effort. It only cares about your leverage and your judgment. If you spend 1,000 hours digging a hole in your backyard with a spoon, you have put in an immense amount of hard work. But the market value of that output is zero. If you spend 10 hours designing a digital system that solves a painful problem for 10,000 business owners globally, the value is astronomical. Hard work without leverage is a vanity metric. It makes you feel productive while quietly keeping you financially stagnant. Once you internalize this reality, your entire approach to career and wealth construction shifts. You stop asking, how can I work harder? And you start asking, what high leverage assets can I own? This brings us to the execution phase. To completely sever yourself from the linear trap, you must immediately deploy the ultimate counter strategy designed for the modern, adaptable human. Chapter 5. The Asymmetrical Assets Matrix. To effectively walk away from the linear time trap, you cannot just theoreticalize leverage. You must actively build it. You need to transition from a manual builder of someone else's company to an owner of your own digital real estate. There are 3 specific asymmetrical assets that the modern individual can deploy today to generate continuous, non-linear rewards. The first asset is media ecosystems. Every time you write a high-value newsletter, record an educational audio track, or publish a structured video on a global network, you are not just making content, you are creating a permanent digital worker. This digital worker stands on the internet 24 hours a day, capturing the attention of thousands of people across the globe simultaneously. Attention is the new oil of the digital economy. When you own a direct distribution channel to an audience that trusts your judgment, you possess an asset that can be instantly monetized through premium memberships, digital products, or high-level consulting, completely independent of your physical location. The second asset is productized competence. Most professionals fail because they sell their skills dynamically. They fix a problem for client A, then start from scratch to fix a different problem for client B. This is just a high-paying linear job. To build an asymmetrical asset, you must turn your skills into a product. Package your unique problem-solving framework into digital templates, automated operating systems, or structured digital blueprints. You spend 10 hours building the blueprint once, but you can sell it 10,000 times through automated digital checkouts. Your cost of replication is 0, but your scale of profit is infinite. The third and final asset is automated software microsystems. You do not need to be a complex computer genius or a Silicon Valley billionaire to leverage code today. With the rise of modern automation tools and artificial intelligence interfaces, any individual can build basic, automated workflows or simple digital tools that solve specific, boring business problems. When you create an automated system that saves a business owner 5 hours of manual data entry every single week. You have built an asset that creates massive economic value. They pay you a recurring subscription fee not for your time, but for the software architecture you left running on their server rooms. By stacking these three assets, media, productized competence, and micro-automation, you build an ironclad fortress around your financial life. You are no longer praying for a corporate promotion or a minimal salary raise. You are operating at the highest level of human leverage. But to actually execute this without getting overwhelmed, you must follow the definitive, exact operational map. This brings us directly to our final chapter, the Sovereign Blueprint. Chapter 6. The Sovereign Blueprint. The ultimate counter-strategy to escape the linear time prison requires you to stop thinking like a laborer and start operating like a sovereign enterprise. You must shift your energy from executing standard tasks to owning scalable assets. First, you must identify your specific knowledge, the rare combination of your unique interests, organic curiosities, and specialized skills that a digital system cannot easily replicate. Second, you must package that specific knowledge into permissionless leverage. Turn your insights into digital media that educates a global market, or build automated digital code that solves structural inefficiencies. By doing this, you are no longer selling your hours to a single corporation. You are positioning your intellectual property directly into the global digital matrix. The era where sweat alone guaranteed survival is officially dead. The modern economic landscape does not reward compliance, it rewards leverage. You can continue to walk the outdated, linear path of physical exhaustion, watching your purchasing power erode year after year. Or you can choose to become an operator of digital systems, using the current technological disruption to build absolute financial sovereignty. The choice is not political and it is not social. It is purely mathematical. Stop trading your limited life force for a static check. Upgrade your economic operating system. Subscribe to this channel. Watch the next breakdown appearing on your screen right now to master the architecture of the one-person business and become an adaptable human. Welcome to the leverage era.